Hello and welcome to Buddhist Global's weekly news highlight. I'm Dr. Justin Whitaker, Senior Correspondent for BDG. This week we highlight the news that the Rubin Museum of Art in New York has launched an initiative on Himalayan art and culture. We'll look back at recent BDG coverage of Tibetan and other Himalayan arts, but first this news. The Rubin Museum of Art in New York City has announced a new initiative called Project Himalayan Art that will offer resources for teaching about art from Tibet, Inner Asia, and the broader Himalayan region. These resources will include three key parts: a multi-authored and cross-disciplinary introduction to Himalayan art and cultures, a traveling exhibition, and a digital platform of free resources. Project Himalayan Art is set to launch in 2023 with exhibition dates in several U.S. cities. In a statement shared with BDG, the museum noted the current state of limited resources for teaching of Himalayan art and culture. The goal of the project will be to remedy this problem for future educators and students. The initiative is led by Elena Pakatova and Karl Debrezhny, senior curators at the Rubin Museum, together with advisory groups drawing from a number of academic disciplines. According to Pakatova, the absence of Himalayan art and cultures from most teaching curricula in the United States is a missed opportunity to engage with the meaningful contributions of these artistic traditions and global culture in the broader context of Asia. This omission also runs the risk of typecasting and cultural erasure. Project Himalayan Art began in 2019 and has developed over the past 3 years, drawing input from more than 250 educators, institutions, and other experts. The project has been awarded a 4-year, $500,000 grant from the Henry Luce Foundation to fund the traveling exhibition and online resources. A forthcoming publication, Himalayan Art in 108 Objects, will endeavor to place each object in a rich historical context. To do this, experts will detail the religious, literary, and material culture that contributed to the creation of each item. The work will span from the Neolithic period to the present day and will include paintings, drawings, maps, architecture, scripture, and ritual objects, as well as common everyday items. The work will show the transfer of cultures through the Himalayas, which have been both a wellspring of rich cultures of their own and an important crossroads for travel, exchange, and pilgrimage from throughout Central, East, and South Asia. In short, the goal for Project Himalayan Art is to emphasize cultural connectivity and exchange and demonstrate that these connected traditions extend well beyond the Himalayan mountain range and even the Tibetan plateau, playing a significant role in Asia, said Karl Debrezhny, senior curator at the Rubin Museum. The goal of the digital platform is to offer an accessible resource for educators and academics, as well as the public. On the website, materials will be arranged to allow people to explore Himalayan art and culture at their own pace. Content will include general interviews, in-depth essays, videos, animations, maps, audio clips, and curriculum guides for educators. Last year, we reported on the Rubin Museum's immersive Buddhist-themed exhibits. These exhibits, the Mandala Lab and Awaken, a Tibetan Buddhist journey to enlightenment, invited visitors to interact with the art as well as through their own minds and senses. The Mandala Lab is an ongoing exhibit slated to last through 2031, while Awaken ended in January of this year. Tim McHenry, the head curator of the Mandala Lab, said that trying to explain enlightenment is always a bit of a challenge. You don't know what it is and I haven't experienced it, but that's the beginning. Nodding to the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, McHenry noted that enlightenment cannot be transmitted in a verbal sense, but it can be hinted at in various ways, which the exhibit tries to do. And in 2018, we interviewed Jeff Watt, a founding curator of the Rubin Museum of Art, serving there from 1999 to 2007. He is also one of the world's foremost scholars and curators of Tibetan and Himalayan art. He is the director and chief curator of the Jingguan Museum in Beijing, a visiting professor at Sichuan University, a guest lecturer at Oxford University, and executive director of the nonprofit responsible for the Himalayan Art Resources website, perhaps the most comprehensive online database and resource for Himalayan art and iconography. In that interview, Watt explained a number of things about Himalayan art, including giving 6 broad reasons why Himalayan art is created. The first being devotional, the second is didactic or for teaching. As Watt explained, nobody bows to a wheel of life painting, the function of which is to show how awful samsara is. That is not sacred or devotional, that is didactic. Next, he said that some art is narrative, such as depicting the previous life stories of the Buddha, or the life story of famous figures. Fourth is decorative. Decorative Himalayan art was very popular, especially with Chinese emperors. They would ask artists to copy or paint images in a Himalayan style to decorate palaces. Fifth is utilitarian, when art is meant to be used, usually statues. And sixth, art has been made as a commodity. Most of the art that you see commissioned by the Chinese emperors in the Himalayan style was meant for gift exchange, and gift exchange is a form of commodity exchange. For example, he said most of the Himalayan art you see in St. Petersburg, Russia, was part of a gift exchange between the Tibetan government and the Tsars of Russia. We also know that Tibetan lamas have written about artists painting pictures to sell to pilgrims and merchants, and they would describe how that was not proper and how bad the quality of the paintings were. As always, we'll have links to this week's main news story and recent coverage of Himalayan art. Use the comments below to let us know what you think about Buddhist art. And as always, be sure to check out our website, buddhistdoor.net, for more on this story, as well as other news and features about Buddhism around the world.